So, today I'm going to talk to you about how you can have a more clear mind and remain focused on what you're doing. And I realized that this skill is probably the best skill out of like any skill you can have in life. And I know it's a big claim, but this skill of just returning your focus back to the present moment is very key for your habits, for your focus on your work, for your enjoyment of what you're doing. So that's what I hope to talk to you about is how to recognize the things that are keeping your mind from being clear and what to do to get to this point where you can actually have a more clear mind. So before we begin, I actually just created a new school community, and it's a place where you can network with like-minded, ambitious people. So I'll be having live calls pretty much daily. So check that out in the link in the description. And yeah. So I remember when I was like in college and even like younger than that, I was this like traumatized kid who like pretty much my mind was never there. My mind was somewhere else. Like I used to play golf when I was younger, and that was sort of like an obsession. So when people would be talking to me, I'd be like probably like nodding my head. Yeah, yeah. But in reality, I'm probably thinking of like my next like the thing I'm going to work on in my golf swing. And it wasn't just golf that I was thinking about. Like when I got into college, it was probably things like, oh, when am I gonna be able to eat that fast food that I want? I'd be literally thinking about, the fast food as people were talking to me. I'd be like, yeah, yeah, and then my mind would be on the fast food. And just think about all those experiences and opportunities that I missed because my mind was elsewhere. It's kind of sad to think, but how many experiences have I missed and how many like opportunities have I missed because shit just like flew over my head? And that's the downside of not having a clear mind and not being present in the moment is that you can miss a lot of opportunities. So I have gotten better at being present in the moment, and I've gotten pretty good and disciplined. I can notice my distractions now. I'm working right now. So if I get the temptation to like stop the video and get up and look at my phone, I just realize like, oh, that's just a distraction or that's just a thought bubble and that's all it is. And then it goes away and then I return my focus back on the work. So the reason why I think this is a good state to be in is because first of all, it will help you focus on what you're doing. And when you can focus on what you're doing, you can get more out of it. The compounded effect of you focusing and going deeper into what you're doing will just rise. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is that you don't miss opportunities like I did. Your mind won't be focused on like what meal you're going to eat next or what TV show you're going to watch tonight. Your mind is actually focused on what the other person is saying. You'll be talking to another person and you'll be nodding, and the information will actually be going in and you'll be understanding because you'll just be more present. So And also, if you're like me, there'd be times where you have conversations and you act like you know what the person is talking about, but you don't want to like admit that you don't know what the fuck they were talking about. And the reason I got to these points where I had to act like this was because I was embarrassed to admit that my mind was somewhere else. So maybe that's a problem that I was afraid to admit that, but the other problem is that my mind was somewhere else and not clear. So that's what I hope to help you with. Maybe you struggle with having a clear mind. You struggle with like feeling anxiety or depression. Feel like your mind is not here. Feel like it's somewhere else. If you're in conversations with people, your mind is somewhere else. If you're at work, your mind might be somewhere else. If you're in school and you're listening to a lecture and learning from the teacher, your mind might be somewhere else. And you miss a lot of information and a lot of opportunity because of this. So the key is to notice the times that you're doing this, that your mind is wandering, and bring it back to the present moment, to what you're doing. So the way that I did it myself was the way that I became more like clear minded and present is basically the biggest thing is meditation. And I don't meditate like most people. When I meditate, I actually just like sit and do nothing. But I try to sit very still. I try to relax my body as much as I can and then just place my focus in a very still place. And from there, then if any thoughts come up, I start to notice these thoughts. And the key of meditation is when these thoughts come up, in a scary way, no matter what the thought is, even if it's an important thought, you want to view the thought as meaningless because it's not the present moment. So even if it's like, even if the thought's like, shit, I gotta be somewhere else right now because I have to do this deadline. I have to meet this deadline. It's just a thought, and that's all it is. It's just a thought. So therefore, all thoughts are meaningless. And if you can get to that point to where you can understand that all thoughts are meaningless, then it's a very powerful place. I know it sounds scary or it sounds crazy, but the best place you can be in is the present moment. And anytime you're thinking, you're not present. And this is something I like just remembered recently. I've had periods where I understood the power of like being present, but then I've also had periods where I thought that it was very important to like go into my head and like sort through my thoughts. So I've kind of tried to find a balance of like what is the right way to go about it. And I think as of right now, in my current understanding, the best way to go about it is the fact that you need to understand that thoughts are just thoughts. Don't live in your thoughts, live in the present moment and simply just view them as these little like thought bubbles. That's all they are. Even the most important thought that you can imagine, like I don't know, like shit, I gotta feed my dog. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. It's still just a thought and it's meaningless. I know it sounds crazy because, yeah, doesn't it mean something that you have to feed your dog? But then again, it was still just a thought. So the more you can like separate your thoughts, the easy way to separate your thoughts from the present moment is by not giving them meaning and just viewing them as these little like bubbles. And it's an interesting experience. So that would be the main thing is viewing thoughts like this and also meditating. And the more you can the more you can like be more comfortable in the present moment, the more your mind will just naturally adjust to being here. And the longer period of time you can be here, the better. Because, like I said, the benefits of this are right now, I'm making a video. And if I were to get up and if I were to get the thought that I need to get up and check my phone, then it would take me away from this video. And if I gave in to every single thought, just think of like where you're going, like the circles that you're going in, if you just like cave into every single thought that you have. So that's a big way to clear your mind. Another way is journaling. So if you're having like any problems or like struggles, then what I do is I actually journal it. Like I journal basically if I'm beating myself up or if I'm fucking talking shit about myself, then I literally like write that down. Like if it's like I'm a piece of shit, I'm a piece of shit. And I know it's bad and we shouldn't speak about ourselves like that, but what I viewed as is a way to like get it out of my mind and onto paper. And it sort of like is that feeling of like getting it out of my system, you know? So if you're going through any like big problems or you feel like you're beating yourself up and that's where your focus is, then I would try just journaling, like, maybe even 5 minutes or 1 minute. Try to dedicate 1 minute today and just get a pen and paper on the paper and journal whatever is on your mind. You know, I'm a piece of shit because I did this, and I shouldn't have said this because they had that reaction. And, you know, whatever it is, get it out of your mind and onto paper. And then it kind of like clears your mind, you know? And another thing is just not doing, another thing is being decisive. So if you're like me, you procrastinate on making a decision sometimes. And what this does is it hurts our ability to be present in the moment. And an example I can give of this is I had a meeting like 2 days ago, and someone was trying to sell me this coaching program. And I kind of knew at the end of it that I wasn't going to buy it, but I told her that I needed to think about it more. Like I need to sleep on this decision. And so she scheduled another meeting for today, actually. And so that was 2 days ago. So because I didn't make the decision right away and let her know that I actually don't want this coaching program, because I didn't let her know that, this has kind of been in the back of my mind. these past couple days. It's like, oh, I have to go to this meeting. I have to go to this meeting. I have to go to this meeting. Even though it's not that big of a deal, it's think of how these like decisions, if we procrastinate on these decisions, it can add up. You know, imagine if I had like that decision unanswered, and then I had some messages unanswered, and I had some other things unanswered. Like it adds up, and then you're in a place where you're thinking like, oh, I got to get back to that person. I got to get back to that person. I got to respond to this person. And then your mind is not clear. So the faster you can be decisive and say, nope, I'm not interested. Thanks, bye. Then the faster your mind will be clear and you'll get it off your plate. So that's a big thing. And just avoid the bad habits, If you have like really bad habits, then those are just going to make you feel guilty. Stop doing the things that make you feel guilty or embarrassed because I can tell you, your mind is not going to be present if you're doing things that are making you ashamed or embarrassed or guilty. Your mind is going to be on these bad habits. So, yeah, easy tip for that is start slow and slowly start to become aware of the things that are making you feel guilty, feel embarrassed, feel like shame for doing them, like eating like shit all the time. If you do that all the time, your mind is going to be there and it's not going to be present. So, if you start incorporating some of these things, just to just to summarize, the main thing is starting to view thoughts as meaningless. Any thought is meaningless, and the only thing that really matters is the present moment. And from this like mindset and belief, a lot of other things will start to fall into place. But it will take a while to develop this like awareness of the thoughts. So you can also journal, and any like toxic shit or like bad shit that's going on in your life, just put it on paper, and it's kind of like a way for you to like get it out on paper and get it out of your mind. And don't procrastinate. Make decisions quickly. Yes or no. Yes or no. Do you want to do this tonight? No. Do you want to go here? No. It's that simple. Don't overthink shit. And then the last thing is to get rid of your bad habits. Because if you're focused on your bad habits, then they will consume your mind. So, with all of these, you can have a more clear mind and you'll be in a better state. So, hopefully, this helps out. And yeah, let me know if it works, or let me know if how you guys are liking these videos and if you have any feedback. But yeah, again, check out that link in the description. It's a free school community where you can network with like-minded people, and it's a place where you can like get better. So check it out. Thanks for watching.